Can a fragrance be both highly unique and extremely wearable? Today we're going to find out. Actually, we're not going to find out. I've already answered that question, and that's why this video exists. Let's talk about it. Now, I would typically market this type of video, maybe saying something like fragrances to help you stand out from the crowd, that smell different from all the rest. And I've done that in the past, but I know I'd get a lot of people saying,
well, bro, a minority of people wear fragrances to begin with, so any fragrance will make you stand out from the crowd.
I hear you guys. Thanks. But this video is not really about that. We're not talking about standing out from the crowd. This video is for those of you who are genuinely interested in smelling different for you, but you still want something that's not going to be offensive to people around you. That's still going to be easy to wear, something you don't have to think about so much when you spray on. And it's really that simple. So let's dive right into it. First up here, in no particular order, I have 3 fragrances I want to talk about. And you've probably seen these already floating around, but this is a special trio of fragrances, and I believe all 3 of them do what the topic of this video is. They do it perfectly. Zed Creators 2.0. Yes. We got My Fragrance Second Soul. We have Evening Mystique from my friend Ross at TLTG, as well as Of the Immortals from Curly Scents and Anthony. All 3 of these fragrances are extremely unique and highly wearable. I've talked about mine a lot. I'll link a playlist or some video up here if you want to learn more about it. You've probably already heard much about this one, but Of the Immortals is a delicious smelling gourmand-like fragrance. What I get on my skin is a coconutty jasmine, creamy, tropical, fruity jasmine. Fig is offering a fruitiness with this creamy praline vibe that's pretty chocolatey. I get quite a bit of booziness from brandy in here, more of a sweeter booziness with an underscoring of musk and other things like that. Pretty mouth-watering, very creamy, sweet and smooth, and very different and easily wearable if you like the profile. This could be a signature scent for some if you tend to like sweeter fragrances all year round. So definitely one to check out. Although I do consider Evening Mystique to be perhaps the most unique of all 3 fragrances in this new collection, it is still super wearable. It is based on the original DNA, Business Over Pleasure, which is its predecessor, but it takes it to a darker direction. It makes it more smoky. It makes it more resinous. It just makes it more mysterious smelling, but still something that has a bit of a freshness to it. That Florentine iris in here is buttery, kind of fresh, not overly powdery. You got a little bit of rose in here as well. Almost a clean, fresh vibe to it, but mostly dark, resinous, smoky on the skin. And by smoky, I'm talking about incense, that type of smoke. Really, really interesting stuff. And again, it could be a signature scent all year round for any situation, but I might reserve it for the evenings as per the name. So do check these. I'm gonna have a link down below where you can check out the Zed Creators 2.0 collection. It is limited run. They are selling quickly. So if you've been sitting on your hands, you might want to at least get up and get one hand out so you can do something about it before they're gone. Moving on. This next one up is coming from Mosque Milano, one of their newest releases, and good grief, this is a unique fragrance. This is an ambery aquatic. Have you ever heard of such a thing? I hadn't really thought of that until I smelled this. This is called White Whale. It is kind of sweet, warm, and incensey and ambery, but you do get this aquatic, slightly salty freshness, maybe a little bit green in a way. Very interesting. But for being so different, it's pretty dang versatile. Performance isn't super strong on my skin, which I actually like. It's a very particular profile, and I think if it was too strong, it would be obnoxious. It has a lot of depth, a lot going on under the surface.
Pun intended.
White Whale, Mosque Milano. Do get a sample if you can. I'll link to what I can find down below. Now, we're not only talking about niche fragrances, because I know a lot of you guys are completely averse to them, even though I do recommend you try them. I did a whole video on this very idea and some fragrances to maybe help get your foot in the door. But we are talking about a designer here, and we have at least one other to speak about. Again, no particular order here. You don't see much talk about this one anymore these days. I bought this several years ago, and in coming back to it over the years, I found it to be quite a unique designer fragrance. As I've seen other things be released over the years, I'm like,
This stuff is kind of different.
this is Mr. Burberry. This is the Eau de Parfum, perfumed by the one and only Francis Kirkjohn. And does it smell like a designer fragrance? Yes, there is a mainstream quality here. It is kind of fresh and soapy. Not blue, but definitely clean, fresh, soapy, woody in a way, but with a heavy dose of patchouli, which is such an interesting ingredient to feature prominently in a mainstream fragrance. It's pretty earthy and damp smelling, a little citrusy, maybe a little spicy, a little bit herbal in a way, but overall fresh. And a little dark as per the bottle. Just different, just a little bit off the beaten path. Still super wearable, still super versatile. Mr. Burberry Eau de Parfum. Now, coming from Javoy, I have to say a lot of the offerings from this house are not what I would consider the most easy to wear, the most versatile, the most accessible. But this is definitely one of the more relatively accessible offerings they have. They call this L'Art de la Guerre, the art of war. Doesn't really smell like war to me. Doesn't smell violent at all. It's actually very pleasant. This is a little bit strange. It's kind of bitter with a little bit of this hay-like curry feel from Immortelle. Lots of rhubarb in here, pretty bright, almost juicy and bitter and sharp with that Immortelle. Lots of woods in the background, a little green smelling, but kind of aromatic and open. There's something cooling about it, and it makes it pretty wearable because it's fresh, but it's very different from anything else you're gonna find that is mostly fresh. A lot of oak moss in here as well, I believe. I think it dries pretty mossy, maybe even quite leathery, which is not atypical of the brand. But I do recommend getting a sample. This might be a good entry point into the house if you're interested. L'Art de la Guerre from Javoy. I've talked about this fragrance several times over the past year or two, and I just featured it in a recent video not that long ago. This is coming from a small indie brand up in Montreal called Monsillage, and this is Aviation Club. Now this is the only bottle I have, but I've tried a few others from them, and there's some other ones that I really enjoyed. They have an amber fragrance that I'm blanking on the name of now that is stunning. I might have to get that one. But Aviation Club is one of the most unique takes on tobacco that I've smelled. Green metallic tobacco. So it's fresh and open, but it is warmed by coffee and some kind of booziness that's subtle. So you do have a beautiful duality of warm and cool going on, but overall the tobacco is treated in such a unique way here. I've gotten compliments on this. If you care about such a thing, you know, wearing maybe 5-6 sprays or so in a small room wasn't too much. It's only an eau de toilette, so it's not going to really just pump and leave a large thick trail and choke people out. Again, the freshness here makes it super easy to wear. You could wear it all year round. A tobacco for the entire year. This is one to check out. Monsillage Aviation Club. All right, a fragrance I also talked about recently. This is what I would consider a masterpiece, timelessly unique. It smells like it could have come out at any point in time. It does not have a strong associative factor, I think. It's just an amalgamation of ingredients that are created to tell a story and paint a picture. This is Timbuktu from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Now be warned, this is the older bottle style. There is a newer bottle. I can't speak for what it smells like, if it's a reformulation, if it smells any different, if it performs different. I don't know. Either way, it's worth sampling. One of the most unique profiles that I've come across myself, but still something that's so easy to wear. And because it's not terribly heavy, this is also an eau de toilette, so it's not going to be choking people out. And I think that's what makes it versatile. This is fresh and woody, with a smoky incense, lots of vetiver and incense, with a little bit of a papery quality from papyrus, some green mango. So it's unsweetened fruitiness, which is such a unique combination with the woods and with the smokiness. There's something a little bit exotic about it, but again, super easy to wear. If you don't care about the art of it, I hope you will one day. Maybe if you smell this, maybe it might inspire you, I don't know. But if you don't care about any of that right now, at the very least, you can know that this stuff smells like nothing else and you can wear it anywhere. Take it or leave it. Timbuktu. We've got another designer fragrance. This is a beautiful fragrance that I've loved for many years, and it's only recently that I got a bottle from my good friends at MaxAroma. I'm gonna have a link down below, probably several links to get several of these fragrances. And this is one from Bottega Veneta. I thought it was discontinued. It might technically be, but it's still out there, especially at discounters. And this is a hark back to earlier fragrances, maybe from 40 years ago, stuff was considered very masculine, green, woody, piney, those types of scent profiles. This is Bottega Veneta and it's called Homme. This is the original eau de toilette. I also have the extreme version, which is even harder to find. I don't recommend you go scouring the web for that and paying a high price for it. If you can get the EDT, this is totally worth it. Green, fresh, woody, lots of pine, some leather in there, some woods. It smells like you're out in the forest on a cool morning. It's crisp smelling, but there's a supple, smooth quality to it from that leather that makes it so elegant, but in a not so formal way. You could really wear this every day. And it's definitely a different take on your typical men's marketed designer fragrance. Does not smell like shower gel. Smells like the outdoors, which again was something that was very common many decades ago. And I'm glad it was resurrected in this fragrance when it came out probably like 10 years ago. It's been around a while, but it's wonderful. Bottega Veneta Homme from Argos Fragrances. One of the most versatile fragrances, I would say, that's not the Homme. This thing is quite strong. It's dense. It hangs in the air. It leaves a beautiful trail and it lasts a very long time. It's in the air right now. Oh my gosh. This is lovely stuff. It has almost a bit of a mainstream appeal to the profile, but overall doesn't really smell like anything else out there. This is Danae. They call it Danier from time to time, whatever you want to call it. This is beautiful stuff. Oh my gosh. I get a lot of cashmere wood, so it's this cozy, warm woodiness in here that's made sweet by way of Cistus labdanum, a sweet resinous quality in here that's not vanilla, which is refreshing. And I actually did the same thing with my fragrance. Rather than using vanilla, we used labdanum and myrrh to add sweetness, but sweetness that does not smell edible. There's a little bit of citrus and maybe some spice at the top, but ultimately it smells the way it looks. It's got this golden brown resinous sweetness to it with a little bit of woodiness at the bottom. Kind of sexy smelling, a little bit alluring, maybe even a little bit playful, but can still be dressed up a little bit more elegantly, but could also be worn as a daily driver. Just control your sprays. Again, it's quite strong and it's quite sweet. So too much in the heat is gonna not be pleasant. A few sprays on a hot summer day, you could probably still get away with it. I tend to wear it in maybe the fall or the spring, or maybe the late summer. Day or night works really great. That's Danae. Check out the whole house, get a discovery set, use the code FRESH10, save you some money on any purchase. Gonna have a link below. Does anyone like cacao? Dry, dusty, chocolatey cacao. That's what we're getting out of this fragrance here. This is coming from Orchestra, which I'm not saying correctly, but I'm just gonna roll with it. And they call this Thé d'Arbukia. Oh man, it smells so good in the air. This is spicy, warm, slightly chocolatey cacao, a little bit of this maple like Immortelle. Immortelle's in here as well, but it's not so much on the culinary side as much as it was in L'Art de la Guerre. It's less savory than that. This is a little bit more sweet, more mouth-watering, a base of oud and resin. It's simple. The overall profile is simple, but it's so cohesive. It just works together. It's actually kind of hard to pull everything out of it individually. It's a beautiful blend. It doesn't change all that much on the skin, but it lasts a good while. Grace wears this a lot and it smells amazing on her, but it's perfectly unisex. There's a little bit of a roughness to it. Again, a dusty quality that does make it so maybe guys would appreciate it as well. Check it out. Gonna have a link down below. And finally, I've talked about this one quite a bit, but it's been a little while. This is one of my favorite vanilla fragrances, period. It was new to me in 2022. And I'm still obsessed with it. There's quite a bit of stir and hype around it. It's sold out a lot. People were scouring every nook and cranny to try this. And I hope you were able to try it, and I hope it's available at this time that I'm recording this. So I'm gonna have a link down below to whatever I can find. Coming from Vertus, this is Vanilla Oud.
Oh man.
Still hasn't gotten old for me. This beautiful, rich, kind of smoky, almost ambery, Middle Eastern leaning vanilla. Definitely the oud is playing a role here. It's so smooth, it's a little ethereal. It doesn't really hit you all at once. A great blend, well crafted, beautiful quality. It sticks on the skin forever, and it leaves this gorgeous trail that enraptures everyone but does not overwhelm. It is just stunning. Again, one of my favorite vanillas, period, at this point, easily in my top 5. And I think I've turned a number of you guys onto it as well. So if you can get your hands on a sample, I'm gonna recommend it. I know Decant X was sampling it out for a while. They ran out. Hopefully they'll get some more. So links down below. Please check this out. Super easy to wear if you love vanilla, but you want something different and something very interesting. This is one you have to try. I wanna know what you think down below. If you've tried any of these, let me know down in the comments. And again, links to everything I talked about will be in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.